Thank you so much for coming, and welcome to Amsterdam, and welcome to Supplier Experience Live 2024. It's great to see so many people here, and thank you in particular to those who've travelled some distance. Really appreciate it. And we really hope you enjoy the afternoon, but more importantly, we really hope you get some value out of being here. My name's Anthony Payne. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at HICX, and by the end of the day, you'll be thoroughly bored with the sound of my voice. When we introduced this event last year, we did so because we believed that supplier experience was a topic of importance, of growing importance, increased interest from the world in general, from vendors, from the analyst community, but most importantly, from practitioners. But what we also felt or recognized that there was a thirst for knowledge, thirst for insight, and in particular, a thirst for insight from your peers. So we're going to hear from a combination today of HICX people, but more importantly, from some of the sort of influencers and analysts in the community, but also from your peers. It's clear from the number of people here that there's even more interest this year than previously, so that's wonderful to see. To kick things off, our theme, of course, is supplier experience. And what I thought would be useful was just to think about a definition of supplier experience management. The term is definitely being adopted, most pleasingly by the practitioner, by the customer community. And one of the indicators of that, which I love, is from time to time we see pop up on LinkedIn job adverts for a supplier experience manager, which 3 years ago, 2 years ago even, simply wasn't happening. So every time we see that, and it's not every day, but perhaps once a month we'll see one of those job titles pop up, which is really, really exciting. It's also lovely to see other vendors, some that we might even consider to be competitors, using the term supplier experience. Great to see the movement growing. But I'm not sure we have total alignment around a definition. So I thought I might put something up as food for thought, which is what you see on the screen. So in our view, and this is the definition we use internally at HICX, supplier experience management is about using process, technology, and business practice to create the conditions which enable customers and suppliers to achieve mutual success. And the reason I really like this definition is the point about mutual success. And I think that's because the way we think about our suppliers and our relationships with our suppliers is evolving. We have gone so far beyond thinking of suppliers as just a transactional partner, orders and invoices going backwards and forwards. It's so much more than that. We need to be sharing so much more information, we need to be collaborating more, and we truly need to be thinking of our suppliers as partnerships. So that concept of mutual success, to me, is more important than ever. So in a moment, I'm going to go through the agenda, but in the meantime, I just wanted to talk about 3 themes that you'll see recurring as we go through the day. Now, the first of those is around supplier data. Now, I don't think it's going to be news to anybody in the room that the quality of supplier data generally across enterprise is still pretty poor. There are gaps, there are errors. We use multiple ERPs, multiple systems to store our supplier data, so there are inconsistencies across those systems, and there are, of course, duplicates. Deloitte, as I'm sure many of you know, some of you take part in it as well, I'm sure, Deloitte run a Chief Procurement Officer survey every year, and for the last few years consecutively, the biggest barrier to digital transformation, according to the respondents to the survey, is the quality of data, and in particular, supplier data. So that part isn't new. What is new, unquestionably, over the last 12 months, and we've observed this, we're very fortunate we speak to some of the world's largest organizations, many of whom are our customers. But what we've observed without question is a move from what you could think of as the early adopter phase to fixing the problems of supplier data into a majority phase. Most large companies now that we speak to actively want to address the challenges of supplier data. They're not just talking about it, they're just moaning about it. They're not just bemoaning the fact that they can't deal with it, they're actually looking to address it. So why is that? I think it's for a number of reasons. I think it's because there are growing demands in the business to better manage supplier risk. I think it's because there's an ever-increasing list of compliance initiatives, whether it's ranging from conflict min rules or child labor to cyber, across a whole range of initiatives that we're expected to respond to along with our suppliers, so we need better data for it. I think there's pressure to understand supplier performance, supplier quality as well. And I also think, and Eloise I'm sure will touch on this, that the need to have a solid data foundation on which to build or on which to automate and adopt AI is also a driver for addressing supplier quality. So that will, supplier data quality. That will be one of our themes for the day. A second of our themes, unsurprisingly, is around experience. Now, if I were to search through all of the inquiries we've had, all of the conversations we've had over the last 12 months or so, and identify the most popular, most common phrases used, I am all but certain that right near the top would be the two words, one place. Organizations saying, I need one place for my internal users to go to visit, to see supplier content. I need one place for my buyers to go to see all of the suppliers in their category. I need one place, one record for each supplier that shows the risk information, the performance information, quality information for that supplier. And increasingly, I want to provide my suppliers with one place to go in order to access everything they need in order to be the best possible supplier they can to me. Now again, supplier portals, just like the problem with supplier data, supplier portals are not new. But what we can see for sure is that that sort of first generation of supplier portal, basically that list of icons with no curation, no guidance, just a bunch of clicks that take me through, our suppliers through to another application where they have to log into. That kind of first generation portal has absolutely had its day. And now we're looking for a much more supplier-centric and a more supplier experience-oriented supplier portal. So one place being the second theme that you'll hear about a little bit today. And then the third theme we're hearing from our customers is process orchestration. Actually, I think that's partly true. Actually, I think we're actually not hearing about process orchestration from our customers. What we're hearing about is their need to automate and digitize a very wide range of transactions, collaborations, assessments, interactions. It is true that some organizations, some customers might use the term process orchestration, but I think mostly it's analysts and vendors like us who use that term. I'm not really sure business users are looking for process orchestration any more than they're looking for database optimization or API-driven microservices architectures. What they're looking to do is fix business problems. Now, don't get me wrong, process orchestration is super important, and the final session of today from Johnson & Johnson, you're going to hear, in my view, one of the most mature organizations on this journey, telling you how they're using process orchestration to deliver amazing business value. So I do think it's important. My point is simply that as a vendor community in particular, we should be focusing a lot more on business value than talking about tech and the enablers. So those are the themes we're going to be touching upon. And what I want to do now is very quickly run through the agenda, and then I shall hand over with pleasure to our first speaker. So first up, we're going to hear from Eloise Epstein. It's now a tradition established. Eloise, of course, is a leading thinker in our space, and there is no better person to open the event for us. Second up, we have a panel session led by Ollie Hurry on an essential topic, which is, of course, sustainability and carbon reduction, and how this impacts supplier experience, but also how this improving supplier experience can actually help us meet our carbon reduction and sustainability goals. We'll then have a session. I thought it was a break. It is a break. There it is. We'll have a break. And then we will have our third session. Unfortunately, a little bit of a last-minute change. So as a result of illness, we had to switch out one of our speakers who unfortunately couldn't make it. But where there's a problem, there's also an opportunity. And what this does is actually open up a slot for us on a topic which I think is of critical importance. And of course, I've mentioned it already. And in Costas, our CEO and co-founder, we have arguably the industry's leading expert to discuss the topic of supplier master data. At 4 o'clock, approximately, if we're on schedule, backed by popular demand. So last year, we did a session on a topic we call supplier marketing. And I love this topic. I truly think it has this concept has the potential to transform procurement and supply chain organizations. So I'm delighted that we're going to be joined by Duncan Clark. Duncan has been one of the architects on this topic and will take us through how supplier marketing has evolved a little over the last 12 months. And the final session, which I've mentioned already, truly promises to be very special. So Johnson & Johnson are leading the way, in my view, in implementing meaningful change through orchestrating supplier processes. And we're very fortunate because we have two speakers from J&J that we're going to interview on the panel, one from the business side, Lawrence, and one from the IT side, which is Mark. And that gives us a really great perspective on how they'd approach this topic and the change they are driving. So that's our agenda. And of course, afterwards, very welcome to stay. It'd be great to chat further over the content or indeed anything else over a drink or two.